I have some of my fondest memories there. I'll shoot you some pictures sometime.
Please do.
Yeah.
And so one of the hardest things that I'm learning about this podcast so far is that it's hard for me to figure out how to end it. So there's of course a phase out, but because you get it, I think it's important to have a conversation built around how you decided that it was time to retire, or maybe if it's less personal in that, you know, there can be some extenuating personal circumstances around it. It could be a lot to do with disclosure, a lot of things. But my more framed question is, how, once you've decided that this era is over, do you proceed? Like, how do you then, after you've made the decision that I'm done with this, how do you find your next thing?
That wasn't really hard for me. In terms of deciding when to, I was just getting tired. It's just physically a demanding job. Mm-hmm. And I'm getting older, you know, and it's like, I have a lot of interests. There's a lot of things I want to do, or, you know, like to do. I keep bees. I do, you know, woodworking, make sound gardens, you know. I mean, I'm still curious enough that if I see something,
phenomenal long exposure photography. Let's not.
Yeah, right. I mean, I want to be able to go out at midnight and do these goofy photography things.
I love them.
And I realized, you know, that the one mistake we all make is that we think we have time. Mm-hmm. You know, they'll be there forever. Well, no, it's not. It's you know, I'm aging, and I wanted to spend more time with my family. I wanted to spend more time doing things I wanted to do. I wanted to just get up and sit and quietly read for a while in the morning instead of, you know, I'm not a morning person. So when I retired, it was easy. I mean, I got a million jobs here. It's hard for me to settle myself. Mm-hmm. So it's like, as soon as I'm done with you, I'm probably going to go out and cut some wood. You know, I built a sauna last year because I love saunas. Cool. You know, so I wasn't worried. And some people I see where, because they've tied everything into this. I wanted to play more music. I still teach, you know, teach at camps. I've had some private students on Zoom type of teaching for a while.
Okay.
Yeah. So little time, so much to do, you know. And I thought I gave this 35 years. That's a good run. You know, I mean, the hesitancy was just financially, whether am I going to be able to make it? Because
I bet
that first 8 years in the Catholic school didn't help me any. I got no retirement in that. So,
yeah,
you know, and finally my wife one day, I came home and she said, you know, we can do this. I've been crunching numbers and I think we can do it, you know. And I said, well, I'll keep working, so I'll have some income coming in. And yeah, it was hard. I remember the last year how hard it was to tell kids, you know, I'm done. I felt they all respected it, but it was really hard for me because I felt like I was abandoning them. You know, I felt a responsibility, and I mean, especially younger ones, kids who had just signed up for band. And I'll tell you this real quickly, and this is kind of ties back to that ego thing in an interesting way. When I took over this job, I called a buddy of mine who was a band director. I hadn't talked to him in 20 some years, but we went to music school together, and he had risen to the top of the band world in Michigan. I mean, he was like one of the big band directors in Michigan. Great guy. I still keep in touch with him. I called him and I said, Mike, I said, you'll never guess what I'm doing. I said, they just asked me to be the band director here. And I got no clue what to do, really. I mean, I can make music and I think I can learn this. I mean, I was really ignorant and naive in terms of how little I knew in terms of that gig. And he said, well, yeah, there's things you're going to, you know, you have to do this and you have to learn the repertoire. He said, but the most important advice he gave me was this, and his name was Mike Kaufman, and I'll say it, it's fine. he taught in Grand Ledge, and he said, kids don't sign up for band in Grand Ledge. He said they sign up for Mike Kaufman. And he says, that's not an ego thing. He said, but when you got a kid in 5th or 6th grade and they're going to decide whether they're going to sign up for band, they're looking at someone that they've seen around school, that they've heard from other kids, and they're going to sign up for 7 years with this person. And if the person's a dick, you know, they're not going to sign up.
Right.
You know, so it's not like they're signing up for me, but they are. I mean, because they're buying into like what you're putting out there. You know, it's like and I came in the middle of the year, so that was different. But by the next year, it was like, okay, and those words ring in my mind a lot. You know, when I see band directors struggling or teachers struggling, it gets back to that connection. If you don't have a connection in a relationship, nobody wants to be there.
Right.
You know, and so I always remember that advice, and it really hung with me. It's like how important my relationship is with every student there. Do they want to enter into this relationship with me?
You can find the video version of the A.D.H. Deep Dive by going to youtube.com/@DavidJMund, or you can find the audio version on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.